I got into American Film Institute and I revoked my admission. There's this interesting phenomena that occurs when you realize that a 9 to 5 may not be in the cards for you, and you make a shift between feeling like a failure to realizing that you're actually right at the beginning of everything and that the world is your oyster and that you have so much potential and so much room to improve. I've come to a realization a few weeks ago that I've actually been making strides in my creative career, but because I've had trouble landing a traditional 9 to 5 job and I still live in my parents' house, I have always been in a mindset of lack. I have always thought, oh, when I get a job, when I get money, I could do this. When this happens, I could do this. And months and months and months and months, and almost a year now, actually a full year and some change passed since I graduated from college. And nothing changed. And then I realized I've been chasing a job. I've been chasing and chasing a job, not realizing that, one, I've been employed for many of the months since graduating. I just didn't have that to the traditional 9 to 5. I worked in food service, retail. I've always had money in my pocket. And then, of course, there were periods when I had, I struggled to find employment. But despite that, I have always been employed in some way, shape, or form. But because of the way that I was conditioned, I didn't view working in the food service industry, working in retail as a job. I just viewed it as a stepping stone or just menial work, even though it was putting money in my pocket, it was paying my bills, it was propelling me to go to the city. At the same time, on my days off, I was working on my content. I was working on my films. But I was doing it in a sort of half-assed way, waiting for some kind of validation, waiting for some kind of big break, waiting for someone to finally notice me. And so therefore, I didn't really fully commit to the choice that I made myself of being an artist. The choice started a long time ago. But if you want to put it in a very like capitalist framework, the choice started when I excelled in English, and always wrote books that my teacher would read to the class. When I chose to major in English and film, not economics or marketing or something that would get me money or make me money right after college. And so I felt baffled. Even though I, excuse me, even though I had a loaded resume, and sure, I could work admin jobs and I could work as a librarian. I was baffled that I didn't find a job after graduation, even though I spent the entirety of my time at school building a very robust portfolio, being an artist, and putting in so much work, networking, ending up in Fashion Week, etc. And I was confused as to why I could not land a traditional job. I thought I was a lazy chud, not doing anything, being a failure. And I felt bad. I felt awful about myself. And it didn't help having African parents who believe that a traditional idea of success is making money right away, is doctor, lawyer, engineer. When I was 5 years old, the first job that I ever dreamed of was becoming a doctor. because I wanted to help people. I wanted to give my life to people and my soul. I specifically wanted to be a pediatrician. My soft spot for children never went away. In fact, it has only increased as I got older. Once I realized that I didn't want to be a doctor and wanted to pursue something creative, and decided to go to this fancy college and major in something creative instead of medicine or science or like biology. I was terrified. And then when I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm going to work on sets. There's going to be a big, huge, I don't know, film, a big, huge director. A big, huge director is going to hire me. I'm just going to work on sets. That's how I'm going to make money. I fear I actually have to put out work and do my own thing and build my own portfolio. I can't. I'm scratching my leg while doing this. Oh my god, mosquito bite. I fear I can't rely on institutions and traditional frameworks. Maybe I should put this. I'm gonna put this here. Traditional frameworks to ensure I succeed. I got into AFI and I'm not going. You know why? I've been so obsessed with the idea of an institution, a job, some kind of authority swooping in and saving me. Swooping in and just giving me all the resources, giving me everything to become, to finally become. I've been waiting for permission to finally become. Not realizing that I've always been. Even when I'm not working, I am. And that is enough in and of itself. Just being. But I don't have any hobbies. I don't even know what kinds of foods I like. All because I've been in this waiting mode for a year and change. Waiting for validation from a higher power to legitimize my journey into becoming an artist. Becoming an artist. Notice how I said that? Not realizing that I've always been an artist. It's always been within me. I don't need permission to be an artist. I am an artist. And so I got into American Film Institute and I revoked my permission. And so I'm not going to this fancy film school, at least not right now. Because I do think I would absolutely benefit from having infinite access to all these resources, infinite access to amazing professors and amazing minds, and being surrounded by like-minded camera nerds like I am. But I'm realizing that I never had a chance to really step into my identity as an artist, step into my sense of self, step into why I'm even making art, why I am. Who am I? The philosophy behind my art, my artist statement. I have so much trouble making artist statements. I have so much trouble writing who am I's and stuff like that. I've always been just a machine of creation. I viewed my creation through a very capitalist, a very traditional framework, and that does not work. So I permanently felt like a failure because I was viewing it as a 9 to 5. I was viewing it as I was trying to make it fit into that traditional framework. And that is just not how it works. I have to take care of myself in other aspects. I can't just pretend that I'm having credit troubles or I still have student loans or I I've yet to implement strategies to manage my severe ADHD, or I tend to burn out pretty often. I've yet to manage those things, and I was about to enter such an intensive program thinking that this institution will make me. And then after I graduate from said institution, I will immediately be plucked from obscurity and be. I don't want to go into debt again with the philosophy that AFI will make me. When I've always had the sauce, as my dear friend always tells me that I have the sauce. I never really understood when people praised my art or said I had something, because honestly, every single time I make art, I'm possessed by something. And I don't know what it is. And to this day, I always hold my breath every single time I hit the shutter because I don't know how it's going to come out. And I'm always surprised that it comes out good. I don't know where the skill came from. I don't know where the talent came from. I don't know where the years went. But for some reason, all these years I've persisted in my art, even if it was very fragmented, even though I didn't even fully believe that my art was something that I can make money from. Art has always been a fixed part of my life. And to this day, I'm surprised that I'm good at it. Even though I have been putting in the work and I have been trying. But I don't know where it comes from. And I'm at a point where it has fizzled out. I think the source first came from trauma and pain. And being in an echo chamber of misery, and being in a space that did not cultivate me, did not encourage my growth, did not hold me, or did not encourage me to hold myself. A lot of my writing and my work has fizzled out because I no longer want to suffer. I want to break generational cycles. I want to actually fix my foundation and build a foundation in the first place, because I have been building on a rickety foundation And I think that ties back to what I said about feeling possessed whenever I make my art, is that I don't have a foundation. I'm just grasping at something and am able to make it out okay because, I have ADHD. I've always done my work last minute and I still got A's. But I no longer want to work from a place of last minute, a place of anxiety or stress. I no longer want to make art just because I feel like I have to somehow prove that my art has legitimacy, or because I have an assignment to do, or I want to prove myself that I still got it. I want to make some invisible person proud. That I want to get back at all the people who have hurt me. That I want to reheat the nachos that is my trauma that I have endured in college and in high school and in my childhood. And instead, I want to create art from joy and from getting enough sleep, from a healthy diet, from daily exercise and daily socialization and my own space to breathe and my own autonomy. I want to create art from a space that I have hobbies and that I speak a third language and that I have traveled and I've been around the world, and I don't feel guilt in wanting better for myself. If I were to go to AFI now, I would only repeat the mistakes that I made in undergrad, which are expecting an institution to make me and not allowing myself to be, not allowing myself to have fun in in sober ways. A lot of the times I chased dopamine. I chased parties and drinking and deviancy and hookups and whatever because I thought that was the only way I could have fun, the only way I could let loose, because I was living a life of extremes, right? I would spend most of my time in the library doing homework, then I would pass out and go to bed. Or I would spend my time creating photos, then pass out, go to bed. Or 12-hour film set, party, pass out, go to bed. That was my entire time in college. And then there were odd moments here and there where I hung out with my friends. But a lot of those times were in party settings or going to party or pre-gaming. And to this day, I still work from that framework because I have been expecting, again, this big, huge thing to swoop in and give me something to mean something. And so I don't have hobbies. And when I want to unwind, I party. And hey, there's nothing wrong with partying, I think. Even when I do regulate my nervous system and when I do find out the things I like and when I do move out of my parents' house and when I do finally reach acceptance in myself and in my shadows and in my neurodivergence, I think I'm still gonna go to parties. I mean, I love social interaction. I just am severely anxious. And I'm anxious because I feel like I am a ticking time bomb. And so substances really helped with that. So I don't think, like, this is not, I'm not going to go monk mode. I don't think that is the solution. I'm not like, you know, I'm a socialite. I like talking to people. I love dancing. I love wearing beautiful outfits and doing myself up. And it feels like almost like a ritual to myself. But I've always rushed into it and rushed and rushed and rushed so I could extend the party for as long as possible because I did not want to go home and face the silence, the nothingness, the not feeling like enough. For those few hours when I partied, when I wore my cute little dress, when I had my wig on and my fit on and my makeup on, I felt like everything. So I either felt like nothing or I felt like everything. But what about the in-betweens? What about just the feeling like? That's it. Just feeling. Not like everything or not like nothing, but just being. I don't know how to do that. I really don't. I have so much trouble. So I'm not going to AFI. I'm not going yet. Not yet. It's not time yet for me. And that's okay. I have some work to do. And when I come out of it, I'm going to create the most beautiful art ever. Because I'm going to come from a space of love, joy, and even when I'm not feeling joyous, from neutrality, not negativity and numbness, but just writing for writing's sake. Not writing because I haven't written in a while and I want to update my Substack. Writing because I love it. And it was my first love. And I was even able to write before I was able to speak. Taking photos because I love it. I'm addicted to the feeling of the shutter and the sounds, and I'm obsessed with frames and ratios and the beauty in everything. And I see everything in photos. I see everything in frames. Life life is a movie. Oh, I can't take myself seriously. Um, I haven't allowed myself to. I haven't had I haven't delved into my special interest in forever, which is Super Mario Bros. My first special interest is Super Mario Bros. Second one is cameras. You know, I love cameras. Well, not camera gear. I don't give a frick about gear, but just taking photos, and I could get lost in videography and photos. Like, I can do it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah, I think AFI would give me access to a world of skills. I'll finally learn how to use an Ari Alexa, and I'll get to nerd out about cameras, and I'll be more employable in the film world. But I don't like the philosophy I have right now into going into school. I wrote something. Oh, what did I say? I wrote something that was awesome. I'm not giving up on my dreams. I'm detaching from them. It's time for me to be a person with a dream and not just a dream.